Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Radio. Dr. Rebecca Warren here, and I'm here with Dr. Nathan Warren, and we're so excited to be here on this Saturday morning. We have a special 2-hour show prepared for you guys. If this is your first time tuning in, we are the Wellness Doctors. We are here locally in Chattanooga in Hamilton Place, right across from the YMCA and next to the Home Depot. We do in-office appointments. We have been open all through, all of this craziness. The whole time. And the reason why is because we're considered an essential business. And so we're just so thankful and excited to be able to still serve our community, reach their health goals, stay out of pain, and really take care of their bodies and their immune system during this time. But we also do something really unique. We do what's called telemedicine. We do health coaching through virtually. So we see people from all over the United States, whether they're coming in for thyroid issues, they want to lose weight, they want to balance their blood sugar, whatever health goals you might have that you want to reach, we can meet you exactly where you're at. And what's really cool is that we have a lot of different choices that you can do. We have an academy for women and children. We have in-office, we have virtual, we have group coaching, we have one-on-one. Really, we developed all of this so that we can provide a resource. So we love doing the Wellness Radio. And what we've always said since the beginning is we don't want this information to just sound good. Yeah. You know, a lot of people will come and up to us in Chattanooga. If you recognize my voice out in the city, you can definitely come up to me and say something. My voice travels.
As long as it's nice, right?
As long as it's nice. I'll be like, I hate your show. Like, don't do that.
Don't make you
no
cry
one's
in
done
public.
that. Yeah, no one's done that so far, so that's kind of cool. But, you know, I have a lot of people that they'll come up and they'll say, man, I really love listening to your show and I've been listening for a while, but I want you guys to know I don't want this to just be something you think sounds good. Whether you come in to see us or not, I really want this to be something that you implement. Not that every Saturday or every once in a while when you come on and you hear us, that you say, man, this sounds good. I want this to be like, I'm going to do something for my health, whether that's going outside and standing barefoot. We talk about grounding benefits, whether that's getting your spine and your nervous system checked, whether that's, I'm going to give up sugar, cut back on sugar, whatever that is. Our hope is that, you know, we devote our lives 110% to our community and nationwide helping people get well, that you take this information, you implement it, and you do something with it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we're excited to be able to bring that information and give people, you know, just the opportunity to kind of choose how you want to do it, right? How you want to do it. I like how you use the word telemedicine. Like that, it's like now that all of this has happened, you know, our medical system's like, how can we make virtual health coaching sound so much more prestige?
Why are you gonna call me out? I'm just saying that's what they told me. Like we've been calling it health coaching and virtual coaching. But with the laws and everything, they're like, yeah, it's called telemedicine. I'm like, I don't want to practice medicine, guys. We don't prescribe medication, and I don't want to, and I don't want to be known as someone who practices medicine. So that's the only time I'll say telemedicine in this environment, because your insurance company probably talks about telemedicine, so you hear, I don't know.
That's right.
But insurance doesn't cover health coaching, which is unbelievable. Well, let's go ahead and talk about that. You want to talk about if your insurance company actually cared about your health, okay? Because you know what's crazy is in our office, the people I see on the most medications have the best insurance.
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually the people that say the best insurance coverage. It's for medical stuff. And it's usually the people, they're sitting across from me and they say, I don't even like taking medication. And I'm looking at their paperwork and there's like 6 or 7 medication and they're, you know, in their 70s or 60s. And that's how it starts. People that are on a ton of medication are usually the ones that don't really want to be on it. But if you're not, if all you're doing is treating symptoms, well, what are you're going to need a pill for every symptom that you have. And so all these people that, you know, like, they're like, oh, will my insurance cover this? Well, what do you think? Do you think your insurance cares about you being well? If your insurance cared about you being well, it should be going cheaper. If you're eating healthier, they should be paying for your gym membership, your clean water. I mean, you should have incentives not to be on, I mean, your medication will pay for a rheumatoid arthritis medication, thousands of dollars every couple of weeks. that can damage your liver, and it never truly gets people well. It might just suppress it for a period of time, but they won't pay for you to go to a chiropractor and get wellness.
Yeah.
Wellness adjustments.
Oh, yeah.
When studies have shown that saves them money. So let me go ahead and tell you guys, we see it over and over again, but I think people are waking up and they're realizing, yeah, my insurance doesn't really care if I'm well. So really, what is it good? Insurance companies, you're no good to them if you're dead.
Yeah.
You're no good to them if you're healthy. You're just right. If you can be just right there where you think taking blood pressure medication means you have no issues, that's perfect for them.
Oh, yeah.
You having a thyroid issue and getting on thyroid, that's perfect. Because now not only are you a lifetime pharmaceutical patient, but now you're going to need the insurance because you want them to pay for your medication.
Exactly.
I didn't even know I was going to say all that.
Yeah, but it's so true. I mean, when you're taking, it's also a false sense of security as well. Like people are, they're like, "Ooh, man, you know what? Because I have the best insurance, I know that, man, if if I'm not feeling well, if I'm sick, I can go into the hospital, I'm going to get the best care." And it's like, actually, that's not true. When you look at people with, specifically, when you look at like older people, elderly people with like Medicare and like, maybe even a secondary, I mean, if they go into the hospital, they're going to run 10 to 15 unnecessary tests just because they know that they can charge your insurance for it. And again, if you're sitting out there thinking, well, there's no way they do that, you just don't know, because they definitely do that.
Done
you remember?
Studies.
I remember when I had to, a long time ago, I had to go to the emergency room, and I remember it was nothing even related to that, and they're like, "We need to do an X-ray of your chest," and I'm like, "What? It has nothing to do with that." Oh, well, it's just where we got to make sure that your heart's not. My heart's not enlarged. I was a Division I athlete. We had physicals all the time. We checked all of that kind of stuff. I've literally seen a doctor since I was a little kid. You want to check to see if my heart is enlarged? Like, what do you think, it happened yesterday? Like, and again, you start to realize that most people don't know how to navigate those waters. Thank God we knew how to navigate those waters, but you can't just have that false sense of security that thinks that, okay, my health insurance is going to take care of my health. My medical doctor is going to take care of my health. If you think that way, you end up being a statistic, right? And so even though we're dealing with things like, COVID-19 and all the implications of everything that's going on, one of the things that we forget is that chronic disease is still the greatest pandemic going on worldwide. And again, especially here in the United States, we know that 650,000 people plus a year are dying from heart disease. We know that, over 500,000 people a year are dying from cancer. Diabetes is only on the rise. It is not slowing down by any means, mainly because the primary quote-unquote treatment for it is management and continuing to get sicker and sicker, at the expense of your cells and metabolic health. We know that, again, things like kids, this is the one that hurts me, I think, the most. Did you guys know that 15 years and younger, we have 54% rise in autoimmune disease in our kids 15 or younger? That's just in the United States of America. And so we know that, childhood obesity, adulthood obesity, all of these things, that's the real pandemic going around, in the world and in the United States. And again, that's something that I'm sorry to tell you, your medical doctor and your insurance company are not going to help you get the results that you want. And more than that, they may be able to cover up a symptom, right? They may be able to cover up a symptom, but as people know that have succumbed to COVID-19 or had serious complications, covering up a symptom is leaving the underlying fire burning, right? Just because you cover up your high blood pressure, I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean that you're a healthy individual. What that means is that you are absolutely sick and you're stopping your body's natural stress response rather than saying, why is my body responding that way in the first place? And it goes with any other medication. And at the end of the day, you know what happens? Then you're listening to the radio or the TV, and then you hear an attorney commercial talking about the medication that you've been taking for 15 years and how now it's been shown to cause cancer. And so if you want to join a class action lawsuit, give me a call. We'll also take all of your money, but give me a call anyway.
By the way, because on this talk radio, guys, I hear all these commercials from these attorneys that are like, have you been hurt by Monsanto? Have you been hurt by Johnson & Johnson? You know what's the really frustrating thing is that these attorneys wouldn't have been, defending you. They would not have been defending you if there's other
you went
attorneys.
in their office, yeah.
Yeah, if you went to their office, if you were the first case that said Johnson & Johnson baby powder gave me cancer, these people were probably like, I'm not going to do the
No
work.
way.
But now that another attorney, another group worked hard and sued Monsanto and sued Johnson and won, all these attorneys are like, oh, okay, I can win too. Hey guys, like, don't trust these commercials, guys. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble. Don't trust these commercials. Go find an attorney that actually cares about you if you think something's been done to you. But about that, I don't know if I shared this study with you, and I can't pull it up because we're using our phone here on Facebook Live. Guys, you can find us on Facebook at Doctors Warren. But there was a study they just released looking at the data in New York. We've known this about Italy, but in New York, they looked at the data. No, in New York.
Oh, okay.
I haven't shared this study with you.
Gotcha.
They looked at the cases that got severe, or if they died, what were the comorbidities from? So, I'm not going to get this. I'll have to pull up the study here within the 2-hour time frame. But diabetes, obesity, and blood pressure issues were between up to 57% of the people. Well, it was 57 had diabetes and 30 had this, and so these are one of the complications that you're seeing. Serious complications in mortality are comorbidities. It's those things that on a daily basis,
on a daily basis that you're having, that you're seeing somebody take a medication, cover up a symptom, and the next thing you know, the problem is even greater. I think when you're talking about specifically, diabetes, I think we're missing the whole other category, which is pre-diabetes, which, we know that in America, and a guesstimation, right, is 80 million Americans with pre-diabetes. And so how many other Americans, do you think are dealing with insulin resistance? I'll give you a perfect example. You know what an absolute 100% sign of insulin resistance is? Weight loss resistant. If you are weight loss resistant, I don't care. I honestly, I don't care what your blood glucose levels show. You are insulin resistant. Period. If you are weight loss resistant, you are insulin resistant. They go hand in hand. That's why I have people that come in, they're like, well, I've been eating, keto for a while, or I've been, exercising really, really hard, but I can't lose weight. And I'm like, that's because you are still insulin resistant, right? Insulin resistant. So, and there's other factors to that that can create insulin resistance.
But the scary thing is that if you treat these symptoms, it's telling you that something is wrong, period. Something is wrong with your body. And we live in this society that we are taught to ignore it.
Yeah.
And some people don't like it when I say this, because you just not doing something about your symptom, just pushing through or taking a Tylenol, you are choosing to ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay? Some people don't like it when I say that, when I say when you go to the doctor and you take a medication for that symptom, that is a choice of ignoring the problem.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And then serious things happen where something like a virus comes and it can destroy a weak, sick body. So just because you're able to manage your symptoms with your medications does not mean you're well whatsoever. And so what it comes down to is you have to get down to the cause. You got blood pressure, that's dysregulation within the body. Yeah. You have thyroid hormones, you're weight loss resistant, you're anxious, you're depressed, you have digestive issues. You get that under control, because let me go ahead and tell you, it doesn't just have to be coronavirus. Yeah. Any virus will do.
Yep.
The flu takes up, up to 60,000 people a year?
Yeah, close sometimes.
That means a sick body is susceptible to be attacked.
Yep.
So guys,
always.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have to go on break here, but let you guys know we are here for you. Our office is open. If you'd like to get yourself checked, your spine, your nervous system, do a full physical examination in the office. You can do one-on-one off-shift times protected. We're protecting you guys. We're doing it just for $45 instead of up to $150. Or you can do a virtual health consult with us so that we can talk to you and then put a plan together of what it would look like to get well with us, guys. This is just $45 for the month of April, which I think is only here for the next week.
Yeah.
So give Heidi a call. She's standing by right now. That number is 423-362-5360. Again, that's 423-362-5360. 5360. And you can find out more about those appointments, what they look like, what to expect by going to our website at drswarren.com, DRSWARREN.com. And this is the Wellness Radio. We'll see you right after the break.
All right, guys. So, we kind of spent a little bit of that first part just going over what I think is one of the most important things for all of us to remember, because there's certain times throughout our lifetime that we all do that a little bit, right? Where we say, oh, I've got a little bit of a problem. I'm just going to kind of ignore it. I don't want to deal with it right now. Again, and I'm speaking about myself, Dr. Rebecca as well. But again, that's why we have to constantly remind ourselves to say, hey, you know what? If there's a little problem that shows up, we have to then critically think and say, okay, what could be a cause of the symptom that I'm seeing, right? So if you see, you've been able to lose weight in the past and right now you're not, and you've hit a plateau and it's just abnormal for you to hit that plateau, you may have to say, okay, what could be creating my insulin resistance right now that, I've never thought of in the past? Like maybe it's toxicity. Maybe you've been exposed to toxins recently, like mold, right? Which we had a family member friend that just had all kinds of symptoms show up over the last 2-3 weeks. We're talking about like gaining weight that wasn't used to, dizziness.
A weight loss resistance. I mean, I think the biggest thing I think is so important to understand is that right now we're living in a very fear-driven environment.
Yeah.
I mean, people are scared crapless, okay? And the problem is that we listen to snippets, we listen to headlines, inflammatory headlines. We listen to a newscaster that's telling you this. Even you listen to your governor.
Yeah.
You listen to the president. You listen, but a lot of people are not looking. They're not reading on their own. And so what I find is that the people that are really, really fearful, it's because there's lack of knowledge about what's going on in our environment, what we do know about the virus, what we know. We have enough stats right now about the people that are dying. We have enough stats. Like, this is the interesting thing, and we've said this from the beginning. We know that we have not been testing people.
Yeah.
Like, we know that. We know, even here in Chattanooga, this irks me to no end. Our mortality rate's 10%. We haven't even had efficient testing. So you don't even have the full numbers of people that are infected. So people are like, we need to, do this. We need to do this because our mortality rate's 10%. But I mean, up until the middle of March, I saw people on Facebook saying, I went to my doctor. My doctor said they can't test me. I went to urgent care. They said I have to go to the emergency room. So they called the emergency room. They said they didn't have any tests. So we are using incomplete data. And it's scary to hear that 10% are dying. That's a really high number. It's going to stay high. Yeah, it's going to stay high because we don't have the accurate numbers to say. I mean, how many of you guys have been like, oh, I felt like I had this in January or in February. I feel like I had this something crazy in December. So what we want to do is we want to dispel the fear by looking at the real information about the facts and what we can do and what you can do to not only protect yourself, but protect the people around you. But it's not living in fear and saying this mortality. I mean, the mortality rates, they're saying.
I mean, just even what they've discovered in New York and LA. I mean, we know that millions of people have already had it. So the mortality rate is going to be no greater than a flu. Yeah, it's really not. All right, guys, welcome back to Wellness Radio. I am your health expert, Dr. Nathan Warren, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Dr. Rebecca Warren, and we are here talking about all things health, specifically talking in the first segment all about, how you have to be in control of your health. That's really what it comes down to is responsibility. That means that, whether you're talking about, again, weight loss resistance, pain, whether you're talking about insulin resistance and diabetes, whether you're talking about COVID-19, whoa, that may be an inflammatory statement. You are in control, which means that you control how your body reacts to its internal and external environment. How crazy is that? What a radical thought. that what we do on a daily basis, how we think, how we move, how we eat, how we breathe, all of these things have to do with, again, creating an internal environment that helps us deal with our internal and outside world, right? And that's what's so great, because at the end of the day, guess what that means? That means you don't have to wait on a magical pill, right, to come out and say, oh my gosh, thank God, now I can come out of my house, I am fully protected, everything is great. If that's your mindset, where have you been the last century? Right? Because there are no magical pills, right? And again, I have to tell you, there's no magical vaccine that's coming out. There's no magical pill that's coming out. Again, they don't exist. They don't exist anywhere. So guess what? The good news is you have the most amazing healing power that's already inside of your body. If you don't believe me, look next time you get cut on your leg and see what happens, right? It's so amazing that you don't have to do anything about it. Again, if it's a little cut, right? Obviously, if you get a deep gash, I don't want you
if
to
you're like
wash
gushing
it.
out blood, it's not going to work. This example is not going to work.
If it's an emergency, it's not going to work.
A little cut.
A little cut.
Not the big one.
That's right. But even in the case of a broken bone, right? You know, I always like to point this out. Even in the case of a broken bone, thank God that we have our doctors that can make sure it's set where it needs to, that we can make sure there's a cast that needs to go on. That's called emergency medicine, and they're great at what they do. But at the end of the day, it's not the cast that heals you. It's not the doctor that heals you. What is it? It's your innate intelligence inside of the body and inside every single cell. How crazy is that? We know that literally inside of your body right now, we know that not only do you have intelligence inside of your cells, but our bodies and nature is so smart that they're working together to keep you alive and keep you healthy. That means that your bacteria that's in your gut, that's in your lungs, that's on your skin, that's in your nose, it's in your throat, you know, the viral RNA that's actually in your cells, that's actually in your nervous system. You know, I heard one expert say there's like over 400 trillion viruses living in your body right now. All of these microorganisms. That's right. All of these microorganisms and your cells work together, right, to create health inside of your body. And so it's when we make the choices that directly affect that symbiotic relationship, that is where we pay the price. And what is that called? That's called dysfunction. And if we leave dysfunction for long enough, then it's called disease, right?
And
so
can I add a disclaimer to that?
Absolutely.
Because that's all true and it's all powerful. But let me give you a disclaimer. It's so much freaking harder to heal your body when you are completely sick and you've lost your health.
Yes.
Like, you can do it. Let me go ahead and tell you. There's studies, there's people have been doing it for decades.
There's patients in our office.
In our office that have beat cancer without any type of like conventional treatment. They never did radiation. They never did chemo. There's people that have balanced their blood sugar without any help from metformin and insulin. But it's harder. Now, let me go ahead and tell you, there's hope for you guys. If you're there right now, you're on insulin, metformin, let me go ahead and tell you, the day your body changes completely and your doctor's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Let's get you off these medication. I get to sit there with these people that have that day, and it's the best day of their lives. Like, when someone actually feels like they're balanced, like they're not weepy anymore, like they can lose weight, like they have energy again, it's the best day ever. But it definitely takes a lot more work when you have completely lost your health, and a lot more of an investment when you've completely lost your health. Yeah. So the best time to take care of your health was yesterday.
Yeah.
The second best time is today.
Yeah.
And then even if you're right now with diagnosed issues, you can still get well. The one thing people always ask me, it's like they're always amazed at like how their body starts changing and what kind of things they see. Like, you know, I had someone that, you know, came in for like back pain issues, and then her anxiety, depression, was suicidal, went down, and her menstrual cycles. Yeah. I think we shared her story on our Facebook page, and her menstrual cycle balanced out. But we're still working on her back pain. You know, like, so it's amazing, but it's all true. Your body was created to heal. The longer you let it fall apart, the longer, because your body doesn't fail you. It's falling apart because it's chronically been in a survival state. The longer you let it be there, the harder it gets. But there's still hope for everyone, no matter where they're at. And I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do in our office, guys. If you want our help, you can go onto doctorswarren.com. You can see some testimonials there, the stories of people. That's just a few. That's a little handful of the craziness, the amazing things we get to see in our office every single day. I'm so blessed. You can see those testimonials there. You can see them on our Facebook page at Doctors Warren. But if you're sitting at home and you're like, man, I want to be well. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be on these medications. I don't want to grow old and I can't even pick up my grandkids. For men, the men in your group, oh my gosh, he's got this really awesome men's coaching group.
We had 3 of them that were on medications. Again, guess what? No longer on medications. That was in what?
7
weeks? Yeah, 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like this crash, diet, go, do all this. This is going to be lasting change for these men. Like, these are men that came in tired, exhausted, their sex drive crashed. They're completely new people. It's not a special pill. It's not a special lotion or potion or surgery or any like some woo-woo. It's called, when you get down to the cause, your body gets well. So if you guys want the help, there's 2 different ways that you can get help. It's either in the office, we do one-on-one off hours, or we can do it virtually no matter where you're at. And the whole point of that first appointment is to see and meet you where you're at, do the right questioning, the health history, the digging, any necessary testing, it's all included, to figure out what's the best game plan for you. So if you guys would like that appointment with us, either in office, we're located in Hamilton Place, right across from the YMCA, or virtually, it's just $45 for the whole month of April because of everything between the tornado and the virus. It can be usually up to $150. You can give Heidi a call. The number's 423-362-5360. Again, that's 423-362-5360. And you can find us on doctorswarren.com. I'm really proud of that website.
Yeah, it's pretty
really
good.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of really good information.
I had
there.
nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it.
Anyway. All right, guys, this is the Wellness Radio, and we'll see you right after the break.
All right, guys. So I would like, as we were talking about testimonials. We were talking about, like, if you have done something amazing in your health, I would love for you guys to be able to share it, right? Like, just even a little, line or 2 about some of the things that you've worked on with your health, or that you're really proud of that you worked on with your health. Again, it could be anything, because at the end of the day, one of the things that I find with each patient that I work with is I find that so many people, they ignore, the celebration of the good things that happen, right? They focus on the one bad thing that's going on. Like Dr. Rebecca had mentioned, this lady that we worked on, pretty extensively, and we saw all these great changes. We saw her get off these medications. We saw, her be able to balance out her menstrual cycle and everything. But then she was still focused on her low back pain, right? Like, again, so you got to take time to celebrate these amazing changes that you've made. So if you've lost weight, if you, weren't able to run before and now you're able to run, if you were having issues getting outside with your grandkids or your kids and playing, if you've had some weight loss resistance and you broke through that plateau, I'd love for you guys to be able to share that, so that way we can celebrate with you guys. Because again, the more you celebrate, right, the more excited you get about continuing to make these lifestyle changes. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. We've got to celebrate the blessings that happen in our life, man. That's a big, big deal. Don't just focus on the negative. Just like what we're doing with the virus right now, right? Everybody likes to say, okay, we've got to focus on the negative. Some of you guys are literally watching a clock and a little ticker that tells you how many people are dying from COVID-19. If that's you, that is wild and crazy, and you need to stop. You need to stop. It is going to make you sick, and it's going to make you mad, and it's just absolutely insane. I think that actually our ancestors had a major advantage in this category, because they didn't know what was going on in this country over here and that country over there. And they had a major advantage there. Why? Because then they were forced to think about themselves and their community and the people around them, right? That's who you should be focused on right now. And bottom line is, I wanted to kind of get back into this because I thought you made a really, really good point in talking about, it's absolutely insane. The CDC pooped the bed. Dr. Fauci should be indicted for just his idiocracy. Absolutely one of the dumbest men on the planet. I absolutely believe that. These people pooped the bed and thinking that, it was going to kill 2.2 million people, which they were absolutely astronomically wrong, not even close. And now we've literally shut down our society because of that. We've done all of these things, and now we're actually starting to see some real data come out, right? Like in LA and New York, and they're saying the same things that we've said since the beginning videos that we did, almost 2 months ago. And again, I actually think we should get an honorary like epidemiology license or something. Or
I'm okay. I'm okay with what I know and where I work.
I know, but it's coming out now, right? It's less. The mortality rate's less.
The frustrating thing about this, and the frustrating thing about this is that we have. Let's make sure we see him here. The frustrating thing about it is that we have some data, some preliminary data. Okay, we have preliminary data that's coming out of LA, out of New York. We had data that showed in other cities, in other countries, that they're doing it worldwide. Where now they're doing antibody testing, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. And it's crazy, because even in the article, there's an article I was reading where an epidemiologist was like, we should be, let's go slow, let's not misinterpret this, but this is what we've been thinking all along. An epidemiologist said, we have been thinking that there have been way more people that have had this virus than we have tested. And that type of information brings down mortality rate. But now people are like, oh, you don't jump to conclusion, don't misinterpret the data. So they say that about this type of information, but everyone's okay with New York City adding an additional 3,700 deaths to their count.
Well, it's probably
even
more
though
now.
they were presumed. No,
now.
that's the one that they reported. Just recently they were like, we added 3,700 deaths, presumed COVID deaths. But no one thinks that is interesting or wrong, or maybe we should look into that further. But it's all about the right information.
Yeah. All right, guys, welcome back to Wellness Radio. I am your health expert, Dr. Nathan Warren, and I'm here with my beautiful wife, Dr. Rebecca Warren. Guys, if you're not on Facebook Live, you should get on Facebook Live right now. We're having some good discussion, even during the breaks. You can go to Doctors Warren, DRSWARREN on Facebook. Like and follow that page so that we can be able to, have this conversation. And again, you guys can leave your comments. You can leave your questions. We'll try to answer them throughout the show because we do have a 2-hour show, right? Which is exciting.
Show, guys.
So if you have specific questions about you or your family, leave them. We love to hear it. Or if you have celebratory, stories about the changes you made with your health, please leave those too, because we would love to be able to celebrate with you guys and kind of go through that as well.
Okay, I want to touch on one last thing too here, coronavirus related, and then we're going to get into some other health topics here. Our last show, we had gotten a comment on one of our videos, and she was someone who had mentioned, rightfully so, she was like, well, what do you guys mean by herd immunity? Like, you just mean that we should sacrifice people, like sacrifice old sick people just
Why is
so
it
that we
always
can
that word?
open up? And also, can I go ahead and say this? So because I, as a small business owner, understand that my whole entire livelihood is on my ability to, work in my business. And because I care about the economy, I don't care about homeless people. I've had someone say that to me because I say, hey, let's look at how the economy crashing is detrimental to humans as well as this virus. And a lot of people, there's this weird thing where they're like, it's either people's lives or you care about money. You can't serve both. You don't love God if you care about the economy because that means you love money. No. We know for a fact there's a study within the Lancet that shows that with every percent of unemployment in the U.S. historically, with every percent of unemployment
1%.
increase, 1% is a 1% increase of suicide rates. Okay? So right now, with those calculations, we'd be looking at a 14% increase of suicide here in the U.S., but that's not even taking into consideration the fact that before all of this started, for 2 consecutive years, suicide was bringing down our life expectancy because before this virus started, there was an underlying issue within Americans' health. There's an underlying gut, brain connection, hormone connection,
lack of community
that has increased our suicide rates. So our suicide rates were at an all-time high going into the possibility, I don't know if it's into a recession that we do know increases suicide rates. So let me go ahead and put that out there. We do care about the economy. We care about all people, old, young, healthy, sick. This is what we do for a living. We care about everyone. But when it comes to herd immunity, the purpose, let me go ahead and say, you see worldwide that the cases are going down. There's no vaccine, and they say there's no medication for it. So if our whole entire livelihood is based on a vaccine, why are the cases going down? Mortality is going down. People getting this is going down because of herd immunity. I don't get it. Like herd immunity, that people that created vaccine took it from real herds, like real immunity within the human population and animal population. It does not mean that everyone has to get it. In fact, I read somewhere that only 60% of people have to get the flu.
Sometimes even less.
Sometimes it can be even less. It just means that enough healthy people get it that the virus stops spreading. So when we talk about herd immunity, you matter to us if you have comorbidities. You matter if you have high blood pressure, blood sugar imbalance. That's why we do believe that physical distancing and staying home is essential and very protective for people that are not well.
Yeah.
But if you are well, guess how we can spread it? Oh, but let's not look at Sweden.
Yeah.
So many hit pieces on Sweden because they are doing herd immunity.
Oh,
but that's what we mean. We want you guys to understand that we care about every single person. And a life lost because of the economy is just as important as a life lost from coronavirus. Every life matters in this situation. So when we bring up this type of conversation, it's to start asking questions let's go ahead. I heard someone, I think it was Brandon Lewis. He was on the morning show, and he was one of the people that protested. They put on a protest here in Chattanooga. But he said something, I was listening to him, he captivated me with what he said. He said, we vote people into office, and most politicians want to play it safe. There's a small percentage, like, President Trump, that take really big risks and say what they think and do what they say. But most politicians want to play it safe. They want to work their way up. They want to be career politicians, which means that unless you hold your politician accountable, unless you are communicating with your councilmen and councilwomen, representatives, congressmen, congresswomen, and state senators, if you are not communicating with them with where you stand on any issue, then you are not being represented. And if you're not communicating with them about what should be happening, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because politics can be very bureaucratic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so when we talk about herd immunity, when we talk about healthy people getting the virus and unhealthy people staying home, when we talk about mortality rates, when we talk about all of this, we don't only just want to take away fear from you guys, but we also want to put some fire under your butts to, number one, do something about your health, be preventative, or start, undoing the damage that's done after all these years. And number two, to really take action and to understand and to start asking questions.
Yeah, and hopefully this kind of unveils this falsehood of safety at all costs, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't exist. If you still think that you can create safety at all costs across the world, it doesn't exist. It's not ever going to exist because look at the ramifications of what we've already done. Now we're starting to see in different places in the world where now it's an issue with food. Why? Because other countries are doing similar things to us. They're locking their people down. And like, guys, we're talking about places where there's already not enough food, right? And now they're having more issues with that. So you want to talk about, we just took in the grand scheme of things, right? Worldwide, we just took a small thing and we may have just like poured gasoline on the fire to make it even greater. And so we have to realize that, every choice we make has, it has consequences to it, right? And again, I don't know what's the alternative, that we follow, what is it, Bill Gates's idea, and we stay, 18 months, that we stay until his companies create a vaccine. I mean, that sounds like a great idea, because by then all your kids, now you're starving, everybody's having issues, because again, if you shut down our economy for that long, guys, you're talking about ramifications like you've never even seen in your life. And then what? Then we get to have, his magical vaccine that probably is not going to do very much, maybe injure some people as well. And then you're also left with what? Genetically modified food to try to save our world. Now we're in a really big issue. So if that's your idea, by all means, go for it, right? that's not my idea of how I want to live, or my family, or any of my friends, or any of my community. And bottom line, we want to protect the people that need protected, stay at home, let us people with robust, immune systems that are ready. And again, we really have been trying to work on taking care of our health, try to keep this society going, get it right back on its feet. And again, do things that we can do to help you out, right? In any possible way that we can.
You know what's really interesting though? Like, I've seen this article a lot, and a lot of people aren't asking this question. We have the flu every year, and not a lot of people take the flu vaccine. And for the last couple of years, the flu vaccine has only been about 19 to 20% effective. But where do you think the flu goes every year, guys? Where does it go? Do you think it just up and just disappears?
Packs up its bags. It's
completely die. Every single strand that has gotten everywhere is just going to completely die. We live amongst viruses every single day of our lives, in our environment, within our body. Like, the idea that we're just waiting for this vaccine that's going to be more like the flu vaccine, by the way, because these strands mutate. The fact that we're putting a whole country's livelihood on this is just really insane to me. Where does the flu virus go when flu season is done? It doesn't go anywhere. It exists. It continues to exist. And the best thing you can do every single year for you and your family, and the best thing, let me go ahead and tell you, because people are like, it's not about you getting the virus, it's about the people around you. Well, don't be sick so that you don't get sick and spread it. And then encourage the people around you to take care of their health, so that the people that do have these things that they're born with, people that might, have type 1 diabetes, that, are